Hey everybody, it's Carl from Carl's Opinion. Welcome to our Thursday night roundup, our live call-in show. And I'll put the call-in phone number up there in a couple of seconds. And I just want to thank everybody who participated last night in the live panel discussion. We had eight guest panel speakers, and myself, a total of nine people there in the on the panel. And it was awesome. It was really good. Yeah, had some problems in the beginning with the audio, and got those cleared up, and had a really good discussion afterwards for about 2 hours, and it was great. And a lot of people in the chat were responding very positively to it as well, and that made me happy. And it was good. It was some good serious topics, some good serious discussion, some good humor along the way, and it was a lot of fun. It really was, and I'm definitely gonna be doing those again. And we can do anywhere from one guest speaker, two guest speakers, all the way up again to eight. We can do groups of five, six, seven, eight, whatever it takes. And I really enjoyed the combination that we had on there last night, and it was really good. And yeah, just I saw Mr. Douchebag. Let me get over there. I saw Mr. Douchebag was saying something about he got his mic working, and I wrote back to him. You saw in the chat there. It's like, hey, audio is like the most complicated part of any kind of production, and the video takes a few minutes, but the audio, that's always a nightmare. So yeah, it's always hard to find good mics for cell phones. Also, it's you really kind of got to look, to find something that works good with your phone. And if you have like a Samsung, they're real goofy on mics as well right now. And Apple does a little bit better job. But then there's a piece you have to get, like a hot something. I forget what it's called. I don't know what it's called. But I don't have Apple. I don't have an iPhone. So yeah, so it's just one of those things where you just gotta have to keep working it. Sean DeGraphic, I see you in there. So let me say hey. Let's see. We go here. But yeah, so good deal. Let's see who wants to call in before the great douchebag calls in. Sound off in the chat. There you go. But yeah, this is our Thursday night. In fact, let me go and get the phone number up there right now. As a matter of fact, let's see if we get it here. There we go. And there's your phone number there, and put it up here as well. 775-273-8970. Again, that's 775-273-8970. So yeah, if you want to call in, let me fix this one monitor. All right, a little bit better there for me, a little easier to see. But yeah, so we got some interesting stories today to talk about, and we'll just kind of get going on this one right here. And let's see, here we go. Boom. All right, Republicans set off nuclear option to fill Trump posts. So this is by Stephen Dinnan and Alex Warrior of the Washington Times. And let's see. So this is actually Republicans triggered the so-called nuclear option Wednesday, changing interpretation of Senate rules to speed up the time it takes to confirm presidential appointees and creating a glide path for President Trump to fill out his administration and stack the lower federal courts with conservative judges. In a pair of 51 to 48 votes, that means we lost, looks like two, well, it's kind of hard to tell. 51-48, that's 99, so I guess somebody didn't vote. But we lost at least one Republican, maybe one that didn't vote. I'm not sure. In a pair of 51-48 votes, the Senate lowered the amount of time senators can delay a vote after a filibuster has been surmounted from 30 hours to 2 hours. That's a lot of time. 28 hours of debate time. That's crazy. And for most executive branch jobs, including the time it takes to cast votes, Republicans could confirm 10 or more people in the time it used to take to approve a single judge or assistant secretary. Republicans said they felt compelled to act after Democrats attempted to filibuster more than 120 nominees in Mr. Trump's first 2 years in office, more than the past six presidents combined in their first 2 years. I mean, that just shows you the level of obstruction. So you take the last six presidents, add them all together, for their first 2 years, the Democrats filibustered more for President Trump than all the previous 6 presidents combined in their first 2 years. I mean, that's just insane. I mean, that just goes to show you that this is not just about, oh, they're wanting to do the right thing, or I mean, these people go through some heavy vetting processes before they get nominated for a U.S. District Court judge, and you generally have a record. I mean, you have opinions when you've written when you're on the bench, rulings you made. You have the state bar, whatever, the judicial council. They look at you pretty hot and heavy. You get what's the word? You get like not referrals, but like, evaluations by attorneys and by fellow judges. I mean, there's a lot of vetting that goes on for you to become a U.S. District Court judge. It can't just be any idiot off the street. If you weren't a judge, if you're just an attorney in private practice, definitely have a record there as well. And you've been practicing probably at least 10, maybe 20 years also before you get that appointment. So, I mean, the idea you're gonna filibuster 120 nominees in the first 2 years of office, when that's more than the 6 presidents combined. That's a little bit more than just wanting to put up a fight. That's just being obstructionist. This is the day we end this completely outrageous level of interference and obstruction with this administration, said Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, the Kentucky Republican who had orchestrated the move and maintained striking unity, losing just 2 Republicans. The Senate quickly used the shortened schedule to confirm an assistant secretary at the Commerce Department and set up a vote Thursday morning to approve a district court judge for Florida. Democrats professed outrage at Republicans' move, though nearly 36 of them voted for a nearly identical rules change in 2013 when President Obama was in office. This is a very sad day for the Senate, said Minority Leader Charles Schumer, a New York Democrat. This is a shame. This is a disgrace. This is not the Senate we want. And then here we go. He voted for the 2013 rules change, which expired in 2015, but said things are different now with Mr. Trump submitting nominations, he said. He said the president's nominations have been so bad that the Senate needs the extra time to debate each of them. For Mr. Schumer and fellow Democrats, the fight boiled down to one thing: control of the federal courts. They saw behind Mr. McConnell's move a strategy to pack the bench with judges who would approve a far-right agenda while blocking liberals' priorities. In an unusually personal attack for the chamber floor, Mr. Schumer repeatedly berated Mr. McConnell, saying his debasement of the Senate began with supporting far-right judges under President George W. Bush, continuing Mr. McConnell's blockade of Mr. Obama's final Supreme Court nominee, Merrick Garland, and has culminated with using the nuclear option twice on the judicial nominees. Mr. McConnell smiled throughout his counterpart's speech, assured in the power of the Republican majority and the Democrats' history of abuse of the rules. McConnell says he started this whole thing, said Mr. McConnell, pointing directly at Mr. Schumer just a few feet away. Mr. Schumer was one of the pioneers of politicizing judicial picks and arguing that they should be judged on ideology, not just intellectual qualifications and judicial temperament. Mr. McConnell said Schumer and a couple of liberal law professors decided to use a filibuster for the first time ever against a circuit court judge to block Mr. Bush, that's George W. Bush's, from appointing a superstar Hispanic lawyer to the appeals court in the District of Columbia. That 2003 filibuster set a standard that lasted a decade when the 2013 Democrats, fed up with Republicans following their precedent, used the nuclear option to change the rules and lower the threshold for ending filibusters against nominations from 60 votes to just a majority. That ended the power to derail a nominee by a partisan filibuster. But when Mr. Trump took office, Mr. Schumer pioneered another tactic, requiring the full 30 hours of debate allowed post-filibuster to stretch out the process, limiting how many people could be confirmed. Senators have spent entire weeks on floor time doing nothing other than approving a handful of nominees. Democrats embraced their role as obstructionists, saying the problem wasn't their opposition, but rather the people Mr. Trump is selecting to serve. That's nonsense. Pick better nominees, he said, and you'll get support, said Ron Wyden of Oregon. Yeah, better nominees that Ron Wyden and Chuck Schumer agree upon. And then, but if they're conservative or conservative leaning, then oh no, they're bad people. Well, all these people got confirmed. Most people got confirmed, so it wasn't like they were bad people. Mr. Wyden also chided Republicans for complaining about obstruction while bragging about having confirmed a record number of circuit court judges for Mr. Trump. Those picks, as it turns out, would not be affected by Wednesday's action. Circuit judges, Supreme Court justices, and cabinet-level nominees would all still be subject to the up to 30 hours of debate after a filibuster is surmounted. Nuclear option involves using a parliamentary maneuver to force through a new interpretation of the rules. The maneuver requires only a majority vote, not the two-thirds needed for a full rules change or the 60 votes needed to overcome a filibuster on a standing order, which is a temporary rules change. Let's see. Hey, see what we got in here. We got Effie Real, Sleepy, and let's see. We got Forbidden Information. Hey, Forbidden Information. CL, Sin, Florida. Okay. How you doing? Good seeing you guys. And shout outs here. Forbidden. And let's see. Boom. Boom. But yeah, good seeing you guys on here tonight. And so basically, anyway, Republicans tried the standing order method earlier this week, but ran into a Democratic filibuster, which they said left them with no choice but to go nuclear. The move is dubbed the nuclear option because it is radioactive to the cooperation that Senate usually requires to operate. When Democrats used it in 2013, Republicans then retaliated by forcing a number of procedural hurdles the Senate usually skips over nomination votes. Senator John Cornyn, Texas Republican, appeared to anticipate payback from Democrats the next time they win back the majority in the Senate. I'm sure you'll see a lot of creativity, he said. The frequency of use of the nuclear option 3 times this decade has some analysts predicting that the filibuster, a defining trait of the Senate, is doomed. Politico, a politics publication, blared the headline, "The Death of the Filibuster," in Wednesday's edition. Mr. McConnell insisted that is not the case. It has always been and must always be the distinctive quality of this institution, he said. So there you go. But anyway, call-in number is 775-273-8970. 775-273-8970. And the great douchebag will call in 2 minutes. Yes, I will take your phone call, Mr. Douchebag, when it comes on in. But again, yeah, I had a really great time last night with everybody. That was really good. I'm glad we were able to get everybody's audio up and the video to come in. For those of you who are not part of the panel, what we did is we kind of got together a few minutes earlier, brought people in. We're testing the audio ranges and stuff. I still had to do some adjustments during the show, and so it was but that wasn't too bad. But I did contact vMix today via email to ask them if they could make my life a little bit easier when I'm adjusting things, so I don't have to like take people out of the off camera and stuff like that. And they showed me a couple of tricks. It's a very powerful program they have, and it's so powerful. There's so many things about it, you can't remember everything. In fact, the guy gave me some advice real quick, and then he goes, "Oh, and check out this tutorial." And I had seen the tutorial way back when, but there's so many of them. And so then as soon as he said that, and I looked at the tutorial for like 2 minutes, I'm like, oh, God, there it is. So, it's one of those things where it's a really powerful program, vMix. They have a free 60-day trial. I recommend anybody who's a content creator who wants to do live video shows. Again, it's 60 days. It's no obligation. You don't have to give them a credit card or anything. Mainly because they know that once you get done using it for 2 months, you're going to buy it. And the prices, they range anywhere from like $300, not per year, not per month, not per week. Like, that's a forever price. And they'll do upgrades. Most of them are for free. And then the ones they do charge you for, you don't have to get. It's not like if you don't get the upgrade, you can't use the system. But most of the upgrades are just to make your life easier and make it more powerful and make your presentations nicer. So it's like $60, but not, you don't have to get them, and they don't come out like every month either. In fact, the last major upgrade they just did was a free upgrade for everybody. So I mean, it definitely, if you're like Forbidden. There's Mr. Douchebag coming in here. Hey, Mr. Douchebag, how you doing?
Carl, how you doing? How is everything?
Doing good, man. Good hearing from you.
Good. Yeah, it's what a crazy day, huh? Joe Biden's trying to run for president. Oh, wait, are we on open topic? I'm sorry.
Whatever, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's always my show is always open topic. So yeah, open topic, man.
Oh, okay, cool.
You're good to go.
Yeah, it's funny. It occurred to me today that Stacey Abrams uses cheat codes for a Fitbit.
Wait. Uses what now? Go repeat that.
Cheat codes. Like back in the day when they had video games, and you use the cheat codes to get ahead.
No, I don't. Sorry, man. That's over my head.
Oh no, it's all good. But people who play video games know what I'm talking about. They get the one-liner. You know what I'm saying? But So hey, great call-in show the other day. Great panel. And
Yeah, definitely.
Carl said the heck with it. I just said the heck with it. Everybody's showing their face. I might as well show mine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know?
I'm really glad you did, and it's really good because it's much more. I don't know. I think people watching and seeing the visual is much better than, well, it's like TV versus radio. I mean, there you go.
Hmm.
So TV always wins out over
Yeah.
radio for the same reason. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm glad you showed your face. Yeah, that mic you were using, it's like I could tell as soon as I saw it. It's like, oh, you're gonna have problems with that. Yeah, you got to get like
Yeah.
what do you have, like an iPhone or a smartphone? What do you have?
No, it's an Android. It's an Android.
Yeah, and now Android,
Yeah.
like Samsung, the latest versions, they kind of got kind of goofy on mics and stuff for it. But
Hmm.
like Amazon, you get some really good deals and stuff. Just to have something like
Hmm.
one mic I used when I was shooting. There's this like little portable mic that fits onto a rig, but they have like excuse me,
Hmm.
I'm sorry. They have like little like lapel mics that are
Hmm.
good. They kind of just clip, just like like news anchors use, like in the field. Clip on your collar and stuff. They're really good. But yeah, you want to
Yeah.
find one that you want to find. Audio is one of those things where like even in production, where I want to hear that you really can't skimp on it because it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, it changes
Yeah.
how people are gonna. I mean, literally how they hear what you're saying, and if they can't make out what you're saying, then it hurts your argument. So yeah, audio is one of those
Yeah.
things, and it is the most complicated part
Hmm.
of a live stream production as well. If you want some good audio,
Yeah.
I have two mixer boards tied together, tied to
Hmm.
two different computers. Actually, three. Just one is just used for visual, but just to see like
Hmm.
the email and Skype and stuff. But the other
Yeah.
two are tied together, and
Yeah.
they're all kind of work together. But yeah, the audio is the hardest part.
Yeah. Carl, I was kind of seeing the way to see if Tony Patriot was going to be in the chat, because, I wanted to, because we were on Forbidden Information's channel earlier. She was live streaming earlier. And Tony Patriot, because I saw a video that he did. And I guess YouTube, you now cannot use your camera, right? Your mobile device to stream. If hold on one second, let me plug in my charger. Sorry.
Yeah. What? Go ahead. What can't you do now?
No, like Tony Patriot was he made a video today because he was going to go live today at 8 o'clock, right?
Right. Okay.
And we were both in Forbidden Information. She was live streaming earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess YouTube now has a policy where you can't stream from your mobile device unless you have more than 1,000 subscribers. And I'm like, this is BS. All this is, so you know what this is? They don't want people like Forbidden Information and Tony Patriot to have a voice,
Right.
because
Right.
they see that their channels are growing, right? You don't think that they don't pay attention? Like when I give shout outs, they see all
Yeah,
that.
I'll be
You know
honest
what
with you.
I'm
I'll be
saying?
honest with you. I have no idea why that policy is in place. It doesn't make any sense. If you can live stream from like a laptop or something, why can't you live stream from a phone if you don't have at least 1,000 subs? I mean, I was live streaming way before I had 1,000 subs. I mean, I got most of my first group
Hmm.
of subs. I was on O'Shea Duke
Hmm.
Jackson's site, and he actually had me on for an interview, which was really cool. I mean, it was
Uh-huh.
really nice, and he has a whole bunch of followers and a lot of people. And he said,
Hmm.
"Hey, I want everybody to sub over to Carl's site." And the next thing I know, man, it was like literally hundreds and hundreds of people started
Hmm.
flocking. I mean, literally, it was like ding, 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 and a bunch of his mods came over.
Hmm.
But I mean, it was, and, it wasn't for
Yeah.
that. It wasn't for that. I don't know how I would have, got any kind of momentum. And that's just the way,
Yeah.
And then to say that if you don't have 1,000, that you can't live stream off of. I mean, what's the difference? Live streaming off a phone or live streaming off a desktop? I mean, what I don't.
Hmm.
I'm kind of missing it. I mean, and live streaming off your phone is like
Hmm.
super simple. I mean, like they'll tell you
Yeah.
it's just literally you push. Here, you set a title. You can
Hmm.
go live right now. It snaps a picture for your avatar for the site for the video,
Hmm.
and then you hit go
Yeah.
live, and you're it. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
three or four steps, and you think that for people who don't have like more than 1,000. I mean, I didn't. I was goofing off on this back in November, December with just a few, one or two, 12, I think at one time.
Hmm.
So I mean, if I
Hmm.
couldn't have done live streams and stuff, I don't know how you're supposed to grow if you can't use
Mhm.
all the resources that YouTube has.
Mhm.
I don't understand
Yeah.
it. That absolutely
Well,
makes no sense. I
if
don't that part.
mhm.
I can see like not monetizing, like I'm not monetized. I can see not monetizing till you get
Mhm.
it to a certain amount. Okay, fine, no big deal.
Mhm.
But to say you can't use
Mhm.
all the resources YouTube has available if you don't have at least 1,000 subs,
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
understand that. That makes no sense.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll tell you what. If I see Tony Patriot come on come on. I mean, we'll talk. But if I see Tony Patriot come in the chat room, I'll hang up and I'll let him call you because I sent him a thing earlier when we were on Forbidden Information's channel in the chat. You know, for him to call you and to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? But I haven't seen him yet, so I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah, well,
but
he, I
what
know,
it
like,
is
I know the other night when, I know the other night it was, I was gonna have him on, and I was talking to him, and he works like late at night sometimes, and he's on the East
yeah.
Coast, so like right now it's 1 o'clock in the morning. He might be at work, you know, he
Hmm.
might be at work.
Yeah.
So, but you know
Hmm.
that's
I
understandable.
think.
You know, we got to,
Mhm.
hey man, you know, the good thing about most Republicans is that we work. So there you
Hmm.
go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, you know what it is with the censorship, right? Is that they Alex Jones? I mean, it's obvious. Alex Jones and Diamond Silk, they were the experiments to see how it would go, right? Because I remember last year they were talking about censorship happening around this time of year. You know, last year, this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, like they were talking about last year. But the thing is, if you notice, they haven't gone full force on the censorship. Instead, what they're doing is they're messing with the algorithms to make it harder to find people's videos and harder to find the you know, like the conservative topics. You know, like
Right.
trigger use videos. You know,
Yeah.
but the problem is that they're attacking, not attacking, but they're trying to censor people who have huge platforms. You know, you don't think people aren't going to know? See, this is why we got to support each other. Like right now, you know, I know when I found you, you had only like what, 92? No, was it 100 and some subs? And now you're at almost 7,000. I mean, you're getting up there with Axel. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not. I mean, you know, maybe some of that's because of me. I don't know. I can't
Oh
say
no
that
no
for
no
sure. You
no
know what I'm
no
saying?
no no! I'll tell you right now. A good amount was because of you. I'll tell you, I do a lot of promotion. I'm very fortunate where I live. I live in a
Hmm.
town. It's about 38,000 people, and in 2016,
Hmm.
we voted 80% for Donald Trump. So my message is
Hmm.
very it gets received very well up here, and I did like that chili
Hmm.
cook off. I've given out thousands of business cards. You know, I talk
Hmm.
to a lot of people. I see a lot of people. A lot of people know me. You know, when they see I ran a full page ad. I'm probably going to run another one pretty soon here. Full page ad in the
Hmm.
newspaper, advertising my
Hmm.
site and stuff. So I
Hmm.
mean, you know,
Yeah.
you know, if a lot of people don't use their real names when they go on
Hmm.
YouTube, and I understand why. But
Hmm.
if you live in a community where you can use your real name and people know you, I've lived up here for 16 years, and people know you. I mean,
Hmm.
everybody talks about promoting their site like on YouTube. Promote it locally.
Hmm.
You know, if you're
Hmm.
in a place where you can go around and promote yourself locally, and you run into people at the
Hmm.
grocery store, you see people out and about. You know, again, I've lived here 16 years. I know, and I've been an attorney here for 16 years, so I know a lot of people.
Hmm.
So, you know,
Hmm.
if you're out there, you're trying to build your site, don't just count like on doing it like over the internet. You know, go
Hmm.
local. You know, try to go to events. You know, certain like
Yeah.
not nonprofits, they'll charge a de minimis amount of fees to like set up a booth. If you don't have a canopy, you can't afford one. Hey, you don't need one. You know what I mean? Get like a big beach umbrella. Get a table that you fold up table
Oh
and a
yeah.
couple of
Hmm.
chairs, and go out there and do that, and
Hmm.
meet people and talk to people, and have get some business cards made up. You can make them up yourself,
Yeah.
or you can go
Hmm.
you can get them, buy them online. They're really super cheap. You don't have to buy super
Oh
expensive,
yeah. Hmm.
good paper for it. You can buy just some regular stuff.
Hmm.
Get your name on it. Pass
Yeah.
them out.
Hmm. See, because
You
hmm.
gotta think about like almost
Hmm.
like you gotta like hit the
Hmm.
hit the pavement.
Hmm.
So you don't
Hmm.
if
Yeah.
you're trying to build your site. I mean this is what I did.
Hmm.
Maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but what I
Hmm.
did, hit the
Hmm.
pavement, go around, talk to people, and every time you talk to somebody and
Yeah.
that you can tell they're like minded, say, hey, here's my
Hmm.
card, and hey,
Yeah.
check me out. I ran into a guy in the grocery
Hmm.
store the other day, and it turns out he has
Hmm.
a YouTube channel. He does movie reviews, and so we exchanged
Hmm.
site information. I subbed to his site, he subbed to my site. I mean, that's just a guy.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not doing.
Yeah.
It wasn't even extra
Hmm.
time. I was going through the grocery store line. I mean, it was really cool. So I mean, it was like, hey, yeah,
Hmm.
hey, I'm on YouTube too. Hey, yeah, cool. I mean, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I say one way to grow it. I mean, is to if you live in a community where you can kind of address people and say, hey, that's me. like my name's Carl's, it's
Mhm.
Carl's opinion, but it's really me, Carl, Carl Jogger. Hey, how you doing?
Mhm.
And be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
hey, cool, and then
Mhm.
it works, at least
Yeah.
that's what I did.
Mhm. Ify Real wrote, Nunya can't do live streams anymore.
Who can't?
Ify Real, to my, no, Ify Real, she said that Nunya can't do live streams anymore. She's got a question mark. But I was
Oh,
going to
okay.
say, I think she can't do them from her phone. But I think, to my understanding, you can still live stream as long as you have a webcam, but you can't do it with your cell phone. And
Oh,
what's
okay.
going to
Well, I
happen?
mean, that's
People
what
are
I'm saying.
just, yeah,
It seems kind of stupid because I mean, if you can, so it's not
yeah,
like we're not gonna let you. Okay, like if they said we just won't let you live stream, okay, that'd be really stupid. But this is
mhm,
there's a
yeah,
okay, you can live stream as long as you have a webcam, but you can't live stream from your phone.
mhm,
Well, okay, well, so I got to go out and pay $49 to get a webcam, $59 to get a webcam.
mhm,
Well, that's why that is one thing about webcams. They're not that expensive. I mean, you can even get a
mhm,
like okay, like
yeah,
I have to shoot up here 720, even though I have 1080p and
mhm,
4K cameras. So I mean, there's
yeah,
720p. Look at the quality of a 720p
mhm,
camera. I mean, because I mean these are two 1080 cameras that are taking pictures of me right now doing a video, but I'm only streaming up
mhm,
at 720. So I mean, you can buy an inexpensive 720 webcam. I don't know. You probably go to Amazon, probably like $20. And
mhm,
I mean, again, if you want to build your site, you got to put a couple of bucks into it. You got to put
yeah,
a
yeah.
little money, and you got to put time into it. And again, you got to like hit the streets. That's my
Mhm.
opinion. I
That's
mean,
why it's yeah.
yeah. And then like you
That's why
said,
it's
it,
important to Oh,
share.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then like you
Mhm,
said, share, share, share. Like last night we had the panel on. I put descriptions for both Lee, and I put a description for Nanya's in there as well. Lee, Nanya,
mhm.
Tony, and who's the other guy? I put the shit. Why am my brain going dead suddenly? Oh,
Tony Patriot.
and Talise.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Talise. Yeah.
so
Uh huh.
I put links to the in the description page for their sites, and that's what you got to do. Like when you go on
Mhm,
somebody else's site or something like that,
mhm,
people should we should all
mhm,
be willing to put each other's links on the site. I have no problem putting links to people who I like. I'm not going to put some left.
mhm,
I'm not going to put some Antifa link on there. Hey, go check out
mhm.
Antifa. No, I'm not going to do that. But for people
Yeah.
that are like us, like minded, and I want to promote their site, I got no problem putting their links in the description. I mean, and people, because you know what, people did that for me. People got me. That's how
Mhm.
people got me going. Again, if it wasn't for
Yeah.
O'Shea Duke
Mhm,
Jackson, I was just hanging out
mhm,
like with 12 subs, and suddenly I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of subs coming over to my site just because he
mhm,
says, hey man, he puts me on a show. I do like an hour
mhm,
long interview with him, and LAR Movement is another guy.
mhm.
I do an hour long show,
Yeah.
and then the next thing I know, I got hundreds, and I mean, I just went from like 0 to like 60 like in 2 seconds. It was really cool. But that's
Yeah.
we have to do that for each
See.
other.
Mhm. Yeah. See, and that's why like me. That's why it's important for like people like Forbidden Information and Tony Patriot who are just starting out to latch onto the people who have big subs. So that way they can help draw more of an audience. See, like me,
Totally,
I mean,
totally.
people know who the great douchebag is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, everybody
I
knows who the
mean,
great
like when
douchebag is. Yeah,
oh yeah, yeah,
definitely.
probably more than I'd like, but
Uh,
you know, but the funny thing, like when I go into the Trump parody guys, and I'm dropping one liner after one liner after one liner, people like texting emojis and not texting, but they're putting up emojis and like of the laughter, the hard laugh, and all that.
hmm
But I do that, and then I try to help promote that. That's kind of how I was able to help promote Forbidden Information's channel, because people recognize me and they'll say, hey, this guy's recommending something, let's check it out. You know what I'm saying?
Right, definitely.
And and the shout outs at American Joe, because to me it's about the cause. It's not about who does more what. It's about the cause. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like Lee was saying, even though the right is not organized, they're getting better at it. They're getting better at it, but we got to be better at getting better.
Well, no,
And
no,
that's why it's
like, no,
important.
yeah, I totally agree. It's important that they have the left is really good at networking, and we're playing catch up with
Hmm.
the networking. And I noticed
Yeah.
I noticed with a lot of YouTubers, some of these guys, they're very protective of their sites, and they're like in some kind of a
Hmm.
competition. And it's like, well, hey man, we're all hey, what's that saying? we can either hang together or hang alone, or hang separately rather.
Hmm.
So and there's a reason
Yeah.
that the meaning is like,
Hmm.
either we hang together or we are going to hang separately. They're going to be putting the noose around our necks. So I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean that's true. And so I mean, it's like, okay, like if there are the people up there were like, look, I'm not a big guy. I'm just in the last 6 weeks starting to really, get going here.
Yeah.
But I
Hmm.
mean, that, which is great for me, 6, 7 weeks probably.
Hmm.
But yeah, but I mean, the really
Hmm.
bigger guys, some of those guys get very protective and stuff. But I mean, hey,
Yeah.
everybody starts out, down on the bottom. And again,
Hmm.
hey, like I said, if it wasn't for O'Shea Duke Jackson, you wouldn't even know,
Hmm.
who I am, because I mean, again, he gave me that big interview,
Yeah.
and he had all his subs and his I had a bunch of his moderators come over too. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, these are some hardcore core dudes on that site, and they came over,
Oh
and
yeah.
then when I
Yeah.
and then he made me a moderator on his site, which was really cool,
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
but that's what I'm saying. In other words, if he hadn't helped me, you know,
Hmm.
I'd still be down at like, maybe I'd have 14 subs instead of 12. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I mean,
Yeah.
that was like, that was like the big boost. Like, it was like you just
Yeah.
put a rocket ship, on
Hey,
my site, you know. But that's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
See,
We have
like
to we have
me,
to
like I've had.
we have to be
Mhm.
willing to do that for each other. We have to do that for each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, like for me, right? Like some people, I get all the time in comments, especially on the Trump fan network, right? Like, how come you don't write a book? How come you don't do this? Well, you know, somebody said something to me not so long ago. Okay, yeah, I got some unique material. I'll admit that. I got some very unique one-liner material, right? But see, my heart is not becoming rich in becoming rich. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not everything is about money. Because if these progressive Democrats, these the far left, I always exclude the center left out because the center left again is not radical as the far left.
Uh huh.
You can't, but anyway, that's a whole other story. But what good is money gonna do if the radical left win? It ain't gonna do nothing. I mean, like all the money you got, all the data, ain't gonna mean squat. All they're gonna do is use the debt that you have to tighten the noose around your neck to basically decimate the middle class even more further than they already are. I mean, it's just ludicrous.
Well,
That
no, it is.
that
I mean, it's just. I just don't know like where these people took economics. It's like we need to raise taxes. Well, we just. I mean, look, if you you don't have to read you don't have to read a book on economics to know that if you lower taxes and you get rid of regulations, that the economy prospers. Okay, just look
mhm,
up and for the last 2 years. I mean, there's the history
mhm,
of the economy for the last 2 years. The first thing he did was start cutting out regulations, and he sent word out to everybody, we're doing this. And then he gave tax
mhm,
amnesty for like when Apple brought 350 billion with a boy $1 billion in.
yeah,
I mean, and they only had at a way reduced tax rate, but they were willing to bring in 350 billion as long as they got a deal on it, because that money was just sitting,
mhm,
offshore. So I mean,
mhm,
and then you see the economy moving, jobs increasing, wages going up, manufacturing. I mean, it doesn't. You don't have to be a rocket
mhm,
scientist to figure this out, okay? But then when they come
yeah,
back and say, oh, we want to raise taxes, we want to, increase regulations. Well, look, dummy, just that's going
mhm,
to create the opposite effect of what we just did for the last 2 years. See, the problem is, here's the
yeah,
problem also. None of those news stations report that. MSNBC, CNN, they don't report on the economy and why the economy is doing better. They don't want to report that
yeah,
because you have to give Trump a bunch of kudos. Again, like tonight,
mhm,
like
yeah,
Brian Williams show, and some idiots hosting it. I can't remember who it was. And again,
mhm,
instead of talking about the economy or talking about, there's a whole bunch of stories. I mean, I pulled up the Washington Times, Wall Street Journal, there's a whole tons of news that's going on right now in the
mhm,
world. I mean, go figure, the world doesn't stop. And, in the
mhm,
first 30 minutes, they're talking about Mueller and Nadler and, this and who's in the report, who isn't, and what's going I mean, really,
mhm,
that's news that you're going to cover the first half hour of your show on that, versus, hey,
yeah,
what cover here's a good story. Like the one I just did. That's a good story. Southern Poverty Law Center, North Korea.
mhm,
I mean, God, I could just run through.
mhm,
I can just skim through the pages and just,
mhm.
uh,
So,
the illegal immigrant issue, spending caps okayed by committee. Let's see, prosecutors. Mayor of Chicago wins. That's a big story. NATO
Yeah.
chief cite needs for friends amid tension. Circus official calls purchase of Russian defense system. And,
Mm,
none of these stories got covered.
yeah.
On the news today. None of them. Because they had other stuff to
Yeah.
cover, and it's a real joke.
Mhm. Well, it's like these progressives, like when they say, "Oh, like China's getting," like I've actually talked to some progressives who like think China's getting a raw deal, right? Okay, well, guess what? If we can't, because I don't know how much of a trade deficit we have with China, but tariffs is a good way to combat that,
Mm-hmm.
and if we owe too much money to China, guess what? They start buying our debt. Guess what? They're going to start having more say in our political system, and that's something you definitely don't want to have happen. You know, I mean, China's got some problems of their own right now, so I don't think they're really in any position to, I don't follow China's economic status or anything like that. But if if Trump didn't impose these tariffs on him, there would be no way that he could renegotiate any of these bad trade deals with China. I mean, look at Trump put our economy in a good position before he started, going after China and the tariffs and the trade with these other countries. I don't know if you noticed. I'm sure you've noticed that. The way he was doing that. Those,
Yeah.
and it was a good tactic. It was a very good tactic. How he did that, because now China has more to lose than we do with China.
Right.
At this point, at least from what I've been reading about. But I don't know. I think because they have to. I don't know how they're going to get the. I mean, yeah, obviously the deficit's going up and up and up, but eventually they're going to have to try and cap that off at some point in the future. But see, Trump thinks of the future as well as right now. It's like
Right.
people are complaining about we're not going to have avocados and we're not going to have our vegetables. Well, guess what? We might feel it a little bit in the economy. Okay, yeah. But you know what? If we don't do something, we ain't going to have a country. And see, Trump right now, when he's threatening these automobile companies with tariffs and everything, he's putting pressure on the businesses that have influence in Mexico. It's a brilliant tactic. It's a very brilliant tactic, because if he can put pressure on these companies that have a huge say in Mexico, like in some of the policies, I guess some of the car companies, I think, have some say in policy in Mexico. I think as far as like foreign policy, if Trump can put pressure on those companies to get Mexico to do something about these caravans, well, he wouldn't have had to shut. Then he can avoid shutting the border down entirely. And it's brilliant how he's doing it. What is it? The Art of Sun Tzu, I think.
Right.
How he's and it's a brilliant strategy. I mean, it's a great strategy how he's doing this. But the other thing too is that he has to also, obviously he's got to choose his words carefully, and he's got to be careful about how he's doing things, because he's got to juggle so many things at one time. I mean, it's just he doesn't. I don't think he really has to do much campaigning for 2020, because all he's got to do is just run off of the things that he's done, good. And, I don't really know if I guess he has been doing, well, no, I take it back. He has been doing like the rally in Missouri, right? Was it Michigan or Missouri? I think he was in not too long ago.
Who? The president?
Yeah, Trump.
Did he go to Michigan? I'm trying to remember.
No, that was Missouri. No, it was, let me see. I know that, yeah, because there was a big Trump rally, I think, and let me see if I can find it. It was a huge rally from what I understand, but I mean, a lot of people, those Trump rallies are huge. People literally waiting outside in the freezing cold to talk to Trump.
Right.
And God, I mean, it'd be awesome to go to one of those. I think it'd be really cool to, just to see, what it's like over there. The energy, just the energy and the passion that people have for our country.
Yeah.
I think it was let me see, rallies in. Oh, I'm sorry, I should have been a little bit better prepared today. So most of the time I am, but it was Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And Real Clear Politics also talked about how Hispanics are starting to get on board more with Trump. You know, and
Well,
that's
yeah, no,
definitely key to.
we talked about this before. It's like I always said, Hispanics, once they get out from the brainwashing of the Democratic Party and like free stuff, free stuff, free stuff. Once they realized most of them did not come over here for free stuff, free stuff, free stuff, but they came over because they wanted to make a life, make a real life, join into the get away from socialism, get into capitalism. Then they get here and they get brainwashed, and they said, "Oh, here's some free stuff," and they realize, "Hey, wait a second, I didn't come here for free shit. I came over here to like maybe start a business, get my kids into a good school. I didn't come over here for free shit." And once they get away from that, I mean, I've said it before, they're natural Republicans. You look at their values, their family values, anti-abortion, pro-family, pro law and order. I mean, trust me, they like law. I mean, MS-13, the people they were preying on were immigrants. I mean, they were preying on immigrants. That's who they were going after. And a lot of immigrants, when they first get here, they live in pretty bad neighborhoods. So of course they want law and order. They don't want to get robbed and beat up. And a bunch of Hispanics, those guys who push those little carts in L.A., they were getting robbed on a regular basis there, not too far back. And they maybe had like 10, 12 bucks on them, and they were getting beat up for it. I mean, beat up badly. So I mean, pro law and order, pro small business, which means low regulations, low taxes, so they can make keep more of their money. And again, anti-abortion, pro-family. I mean, they just fit naturally into the Republican Party. And once they just realize that, and it's okay, because it's easy to get brainwashed fast. Especially when you get here and people start handing you stuff. If you get here and people start handing you things, it's like, oh, these people seem nice, and they say, oh, who are you? Oh, we're the Democrats. Don't forget to vote for us. I mean, they remember now in the 1800s, Dinesh D'Souza pointed this out in one of his movies. They show the people getting off the boat, right? Remember, and the guys coming over and say, oh, here's a place for you to live, like the ghetto. Here's a place for you to live, and then on election day, remember the guys knock on the door. They grab the parents. They come on, you're going with us to the polls, and you're voting the way we tell you to vote. I mean, that was real, and that's pretty much without the guys banging on the door and grabbing you, throwing you to the polling booth. It's pretty close to what they were doing back in the 1800s and early 1900s.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah,
it's just that so these guys get over here and they go, oh well, I guess that's how I'm voting. But once they kind of wake up and smell the coffee for a few minutes, again, George Bush, 2004. I'm going to keep saying it till people get tired of hearing it. George Bush in 2004 got 42% of the Hispanic vote. 42%. That was not an accident. Okay, that wasn't like, ooh, what's that? Okay, Trump with all the nasty things he said about illegal immigrants, he got 30% of the Hispanic vote. 30%. Okay, so I mean, even like being like slapped in the face 10 times, they're like, well, we still like your policies. Okay, you're a dick, maybe. We like your policies, and we're going to vote for you.
Yeah.
So So what did Real Clear Politics actually say on that story? Did they go into kind of deep dive on it? What did they say?
I didn't really read a whole lot of it. I mean, I caught a glimpse of it. It's in my list of things to watch. I've been really busy all week. I haven't had a chance to catch up much with the news. But from what I understand, it was a Real Clear Politics. It was reported on the Real Clear Politics. And they were saying that. What was it that let me see, Hispanic rally to Trump, and they had with the economy, they were showing that according to this, March had jumped like to 50% approval rating.
Wait, what?
So much good news.
Wait.
No, okay, like a real.
Wait, hold it. You mean 50% overall?
I believe so. Yes. Yeah. 50%.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I got excited there for a second. I thought you meant like 50% of Hispanic vote, because of that we could all just stay home in 2020. But yeah, okay, but go ahead.
Well, according to February's Morning Consultant Politico poll showed Trump's Hispanic approval vaulting to a still impressive 45%. But see, the Democrats, they fear this. They know that. It's like it's like I've said before. They've got people running numbers and think tanks, and what are Trump's chances, yada yada. And I'd say, judging by their panicked, the way they're panicking, and the way that they're trying to drum up their progressive base, they're pretty desperate. But see, even right now that there's infighting among the moderate Democrats and the progressives. Like, look at Joe Biden, for example. Joe Biden's kind of, Joe Biden's kind of more the corporate Democrat. He's trying to play, he's actually kind of playing his hand where he's not trying to be too far to the progressive, but he's trying to cater to them a little bit because he knows he needs their votes to win. But he's also kind of trying to pass himself off as maybe a little bit of a moderate, hey, look, he's more of a social safety net guy, like not really a Medicare for all kind of guy. At least that's my impression of him. He's more of like a food stamp Medicare safety net rather than like, everybody getting it. But I think too that, but it's his baggage that's going to probably hurt him in the primary. See, like I was saying in the panel the other day, all these older white guys are going to need people of color as their running mates if they want to stand any chance of getting out of the primaries. I think, who was it? Biden was talking about Stacey Abrams. I don't know if she.
Wait.
I don't know.
Okay. Again, I've asked this question before. Was Biden talking about her, or was somebody else? Was somebody from the Abrams camp talking about her? I mean, did Biden say, "Oh, Stacey Abrams"? I can't believe he actually said, "Oh, that would be a good idea." I mean, did he say that, or did somebody else say it for him?
I think it was something that was floating around on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. That sounds like something Stacey Abrams camp would put out to get some buzz and some talk about, oh, Biden's going to pick Stacey Abrams. It sounds like a bullshit story. Because I mean, I'm sorry, if he picked her, I mean, he might as well just go home right now. I mean, if he even decides to run. Okay.
It's in the Washington Times. That was it's reportedly being considered.
Well, I know, but what was the source? I mean, considered by who? I mean, Joe Biden's going to consider Stacey Abrams. A woman has. I mean, she was what? What was she? A state senator over there, or something like that, or assemblywoman? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I mean, she sounds like a complete moron. I mean, I guess he. Well, she told a phony story about her childhood, like he did about his dad being a coal miner. But I mean, maybe he liked that about her. But I mean, she sounds like an idiot. So I mean. Look, if you have to reach out and find somebody, a person of color and a woman, trust me, there are a lot of intelligent women of color who are, out there. Okay, you don't have to go find an idiot. Okay, you trust me, they're all over the place. I mean, you can find, oh, there's one, oh, there's one, oh, there's one. I mean, if you're gonna do identity politics and that's how you're gonna judge who you're gonna pick, yeah, you don't have to pick an idiot. There's plenty of smart ones out there. I mean, really, there are a lot of them. You can go to state houses all across the country. You can go to any pick a state. If you're a Democrat, God, go to California, go to New York. I mean, go to the South, go to Texas. I mean, you have to trip. You have to keep your eyes closed and stand still, not to run into one. Okay, so you can find intelligent women of color. You don't have to pick a dumb person. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Well, I think because, she's kind of popular. I think. I mean, maybe that was one of the reasons why that they had talked about it.
Yeah, good luck.
But I mean, some of these articles, like even some of the conservative news, they'll put out. Sometimes they'll run with a story and they'll have maybe 70 or 80% of the facts, but they won't have the full story. And sometimes that 20% was more correct than the 80%. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, maybe they based it off of, I'm just saying like the chances, but it's like let's say if somebody picked AOC as God forbid, but if they picked AOC as their running mate, that would probably make them, just because of how popular she is. I mean, let's face it, she's the new socialist media darling, and that would probably be pretty scary combination of a Democrat and a far left radical progressive like AOC, because I mean, you would definitely have the progressive base going out in force then, but it's see, look at what DeSantis did, right? When he was running, he did a respectful thing. Hey, look, I'm resigning from Congress because I don't think, I need to be focused on what I'm trying to do. And what does Gillum do? Gillum's just, I'm going to, continue being the mayor. I'm going to, hey, I'm not gonna, I think this is in the bag, yada yada, and I'm like, this guy, I never even heard of this guy until he started running. I don't know much about Gillum, but yeah, I've only ever
I said, yeah, he's got a future. I mean, look,
hmm
if it doesn't have to be a woman, theoretically, that guy almost won in Florida, whether it was fixed or not,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. He still was able to go out there and get those votes. And Florida's a big
Yeah.
state, and that's a really important state in a general election. If
hmm
you need someone if you're a Democrat and you have to have someone of color on your ticket, well, it doesn't necessarily
hmm
have to be a woman, does it? You go grab that guy. There's Florida.
Yeah.
You put him on the ticket. You got a really good shot at taking Florida. And he knows how to
Yeah.
campaign. And he had, when you campaign in a state like that's why they like grabbing people from states like that, like California, Florida, Texas, New York. Big states because they
hmm
have to know how to use the media. They have to have a good
hmm
organization. They have to be able to talk in front of all different crowds of people. When you're in a state like Florida, it's very diverse, very multicultural, a lot of different
Yeah.
opinions on all sides. You have to know, and if you can go and campaign in that state
hmm
and be successful, then
hmm
that's the kind of guy you want on the ticket. But it's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about him until you just said his name, and now the wheels are spinning in my head. I'm thinking like that would be a hell of a pick for him. That'd even be a good fit.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? He's kind of a younger
Yeah.
guy, and Biden's the older
Yeah.
dude. And
hmm
I don't know Gillum. I didn't follow the race, but I'm sure some guys will tell you like he's probably kind of like a cool guy, you know what I'm saying, but not like a Beto kind of like dork kind of dumb cool guy. He's just a
Well,
regular
I don't.
guy.
mhm. I'm not sticking up for Gillum or anything, but I don't think Gillum is. I mean, even though he's a progressive, I don't think he's as radical as Beto is. I mean, they're still radicals, but I don't think he's. I mean, he didn't really strike me as like a super far left radical like Beto was. I mean,
Well, yeah,
still
the
there,
only
but
only thing really worried about me about Gillum. Well, I wanted the Republicans to win, obviously in Florida because
oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, especially since redistricting is coming up here, and the governor's
hmm
going to be in charge of that
hmm
after the 2020 census. But remember they did that
hmm
not project was it Project Veritas? Who's the guy who goes out and
yeah.
interviews people?
James O'Keefe.
Yeah, well, remember they did that on him. Remember they talked to that friend of his that he went to college with and says, "Oh yeah, basically, we're like socialists and
hmm
stuff like that." So that kind of bothered me a little
hmm
bit. Did you see that one
Yeah.
that O'Keefe did on Gillum's campaign staff member?
Yeah, where the guy made the comment that I don't want to repeat what he said, but he
Right.
made the comment, the racist comment, and yeah, I saw it, and
Yeah,
but what else
that
was
kind of bothers
exposed?
me a little bit. Yeah,
Oh, it does, yeah,
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 because the guy
and
went to school with him, he grew up, and it's not like you were friends.
yeah,
So
it,
I'm a little concerned about that.
yeah. Well, like I know you've heard me talk about this before, Carl. Like, when I bring up me being half Hispanic and all that, it's not something I like doing. But since the left wants to play identity politics, okay, we'll play their game. Because sometimes you got to fight fire with fire. And I love it when they start hearing me speak. Sometimes when I'm talking to them, and they're like, you could tell they want to tell me something. They want to call me all kinds of names, but
Right.
they don't do it because if they do, oh my gosh, they're bashing a Hispanic, even though he's half Hispanic. I can claim my Hispanic more than I can, that individual that I'm talking to. It's
Yeah,
only like,
wait, yeah, hold on. Yeah,
court,
it's like CL Sin Florida. It sounds like he's probably from
mhm,
Florida. In the chat, he wrote down he's he meant to say he's a closet radical.
mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, I wonder how radical this guy is. Gillum.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, that's kind of an interesting question. Well, I didn't follow the race. It sounds like you and this guy probably followed the race pretty close. But
Mhm.
well, one, did he sound like he was making some kind of sense when he was speaking? Did he at least get to that?
No.
No.
Well, what I would classify Gillum as like a very good con man. Like, he kept like when he said I want to raise the corporate tax like at 30%, 40%. He's basically saying, he's kind of throwing little bones here and there. But what he would have done, see, what he was heavily backed by Soros and Steyer. Thank God Kenneth Griffith, wrote that check for DeSantis, or DeSantis wouldn't have been able to compete with Gillum. But I mean, that's a whole other thing. But
Yeah.
but again, you owe the master, the puppet master, a favor if they help you win. And what Gillum would have eventually done, this is just my take on it, but just watching him, right?
Hmm.
Um, raise the taxes to 40%, make it impossible, pass legislation. Although Florida has mostly, I think it's a majority Supreme Court that's conservative. I could be wrong on that.
Uh-huh.
But even then, he would have had a conservative Supreme Court to contend with. Gillum would have. But, he would have passed legislation to make it impossible or harder for law enforcement to cooperate with ICE. He would have basically driven businesses out of Florida. He probably would have implemented a state income tax.
Did he want a state income tax?
I believe he did. I think he did. I don't know 100%, but I know that people that I was talking to said that he said that. I did not see him say that, but but there were people who followed it closer than I did. But eventually that would have had to happen because he would have turned Florida into a sanctuary state. He would. I mean, we have enough illegals here as it is. Miami's littered with them. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean, truth is truth. But he would have, businesses would have driven out of Florida. So what happens? You have to tax those remaining that stay. So what do? You start taxing the middle class. You start changing the tax brackets. You start, people get, you probably would have even seen smaller returns at the end of the year for people who normally get returns. I mean, people who have children probably wouldn't be getting as much. I mean, like I said, the whole goal of these globalists is to decimate the middle class. And since they can't, and I know I've said this many times before, but since Trump got elected, what they have to do is they have to do it by state level. They do it through people getting elected by, through mayors, governorships, obviously, and they start pushing these policies that are designed to slowly work over time to decimate the middle class. Not so much go full steam ahead. I mean, how long did it take the liberals to destroy California, the liberal politicians? California, some idiot one time told me, oh, California is the 7th largest economy in the world. Well, guess what? When a Republican had it, it was the 5th. So do the math. I mean,
right.
literally,
right.
You can destroy these people with the simplest of facts.
Right.
And it's like, it just you could tell the way people talk, right? Like this one guy, Ann Coulter, I like Ann Coulter, but she's been pissing me off a little bit. She's talking about some of Trump's accomplishments, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this one guy comes in a comment, you're just Ann Coulter's awesome. And then he's using similar liberal talking points, you just yada yada. And I go back, hey, you're a fake Trump supporter. Boy, did he unload on me. And so I must have hit the mark, right?
Yeah.
But
well, there are some people out there who are just stupid and they say, "Oh, I'm for Trump." It's like, but stupid doesn't equal conservative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just you could just be dumb and obnoxious and say, "Oh, I'm for Trump." It's like, well, okay, I'm glad you're voting. Well, just go out and vote for him. But don't be stupid.
Well, the ignorant conservatives, and this is just my opinion, Carl, and correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, because like I said, I'll be the first to admit I haven't been studying this as long as Lee and you have. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I know I've said this before. I've only been red pilled about maybe 5 years ago. So, but I know that you and Lee have been following this like 9, 10 times more than some of the more newly red pilled people, right? But some of the more ignorant conservatives that, they vote Republican, but they'll vote for rhinos, they'll vote for Republicans that just basically, because the rhinos don't do anything.
I hate to say, but I just had to vote for a rhino. I had to vote for a rhino in my state who actually said during the 2016 election he was not voting for Donald Trump. He was our U.S. Senator, Dean Heller, and Trump came out and did 2 campaign rallies for him. One in Vegas. I went to that one. In fact, had a pretty nice time actually, and then he did one up in I want to say Elko for him as well, and but the guy couldn't get over the finish line, and it was just But I mean, I had to vote for him. I mean, look, I didn't want this seat to go to the Democrat. He won in the primary, and unfortunately, the guy he ran against in the primary. Remember, I said like being stupid doesn't mean being conservative. Well, this guy. But anyway, so I mean, I sometimes you have to vote for the rhino. I'll tell you right now, if I was in Utah, I would have hated doing it, but I probably would have voted for Mitt Romney. Why? Because I want that seat. I want the seat to be Republican. Why? Because if you have a majority in the Senate, you see what happens when you don't have a majority in the House. The chairman gets subpoena power. Okay, the chairman gets to call witnesses, gets subpoena power, gets to do all kinds of stupid shit. So, but if you have that just one vote majority, you're the chairman of those committees. You're the one who controls the hearings. You're the one who controls the subpoena power. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big. So, I mean, sometimes you have to, like, hold your nose and vote for the rhino. But, I mean, if you lose a majority in the Senate, you lose a majority in the House. Well, you see what's going on right now in the House. Nadler wants, the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. They asked him, well, have you ever released your tax returns? Oh, well, well, yeah, that's not a problem. He goes, well, when have you ever released them? Well, I'm sure I did. Well, he never did. There was the local newspaper, I think, I forget where he's from, like up northeast somewhere. They said, no, we've been trying to get his tax returns for years. We can't. He won't. He keeps stonewalling us. He won't produce them. So then, like, he said, well, I'm gonna produce mine soon. If you're asking for the President Trump's tax returns, which is none of your freaking business. I'm sorry. I mean, he got elected by the people. He's president. I mean, he's doing something. If he's doing something nefarious while he's in office, okay. You don't have to go back and look at his personal life. Why is that? If he wasn't president, why would that be important? In fact, it's not even important now. It's not important now. We want. I mean, just to harass. It's just But again, we lost the House.
Yeah.
If we hadn't lost the House, you wouldn't be having to put up with all this stupid shit right now. So sometimes you got to vote. Now in a primary, you got to look at a couple of things. One is the non-rhino. Like say we're going to primary somebody, right? And you say, okay, we use this guy to primary, the Republican. Well, if that guy, the guy that you're using to primary the Republican is an idiot and has no chance in hell of winning the general election, basically you're just turning that seat over to the Democrats. So I mean, you got to be smart too. I mean, like, hey, I agree. We want, but if that happened up here in Nevada, it was like, somebody wanted to primary one of the guys up here, and this person was just whatever. Okay, I met with this person, and trust me, it was like I couldn't wait to leave. Because I'm like, well, maybe I'll support this person. And I'm like, and I brought a checkbook. And then I left with my checkbook, and there was no checks missing when I left. Let's put it that way. So, I mean, you say, okay, we want to primary this guy, but is that person going to win in the general, or are we just turning over the seat to the Democrats? Well, if the answer is we're going to vote for principal, but we're going to turn the seat over to the Democrats, well, it's not better that the Democrats have the seat than the rhino. Because at least the rhino gave you that extra vote. They caucus, and they give you potentially you got the committee chairmanships, in your state assembly, your state senate. So I mean, you got to be smart too. I mean, sometimes look, this again, we've said it before. This is a representative democracy. This is a republic. Okay, the guy we're voting for to represent us in the House, in the Senate, in the state assembly, in the state senate is not us. Okay, we are not voting. If he was me, that would be me, but it's not me. It's some guy who I hope votes in the same way I want him to vote at least 75% of the time. If he can do that, I'm happy. If he votes differently than I wanted the other 25%, hey, man, talk to George Washington. What do you want me to tell you? I mean, even Plato said if he wanted direct democracy, the max limit for a city-state, 5,000 people. He goes, after 5,000 people, it can't work. It's impossible. You'll end up with the tyranny of the majority. It won't work. So again, all right. So say you have to vote for a guy that only votes in the way you want him to vote 60% of the time, 6-0. Okay, well, vote for some idiot who's gonna agree with you 100% of the time. But if you turn the seat over to the Democrat, then it doesn't mean anything. And then the Democrat only votes on the same side you are 10% of the time. Yay, you win. What did you win? Nothing. I mean, you need seats in those Senate and the House. You got to be able to count votes. You got to be able to have chairmanships. You got to have the majority. Look, they just did this article right here, right in front of us. Nuclear option adopted. That was adopted. Why? Because we were able to get 51 votes to adopt it. Well, if we didn't have the majority, well, first of all, say we lost majority in the Senate. Say we said, oh, we're not voting for these rhinos. McConnell's a rhino. This guy's a rhino. This guy, we're not going to vote for him. We give the Senate back to the Democrats. Trump would never get a single U.S. District Court judge through for the next 2 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, they would block it. Okay, they would block every one of them. Period. Supreme Court, forget it. It wouldn't happen. They bring up Merrick Garland and say, well, we're not doing it. So again, there are some rhinos sitting there right now. And if they were Democrats, we only have 53-47 majority, 4 votes, 4 votes gone the other way, and because you didn't like the rhino, well, then no U.S. District Court judges, no cabinet officials, nobody gets appointed, nobody gets through. Yay, we win. What
Well,
did we win? Nothing.
well, the reason why, why all those rhinos retired, because they knew that their seats could be won by incoming Democrats. That's why those rhinos left, because they were basically switching seats with with the newer
They left
Democrats that
because
were
they were
getting elected.
pussies.
Whoever.
They left because they were pussies. Okay, they're all afraid of
Mhm,
Trump and how obnoxious he is and all this stuff. Bull,
mhm,
tough shit. Get over it. Okay, grow.
mhm,
Grow. What's that saying? Grow a pair. Okay, they were pussies.
yeah.
They're like, oh, we don't want to be associated with
Mhm,
this guy. Oh, you don't want to be associated with like low unemployment. Oh, we don't. You don't want to be associated with
mhm,
high growth. Oh, you don't want to be associated
mhm,
with like higher wages. Oh, you don't want to be associated with more
mhm,
people being able to buy a house. Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah, but no, but he's obnoxious. Oh, well, you know what? Sorry, okay. I mean, we work with people all day long that some are really
Mhm,
nice, some are obnoxious, but some are obnoxious. They do
mhm,
the job really well. Okay,
yeah.
when I work construction, there were some obnoxious guys I worked with in construction, but there were guys who knew how to get their
Mhm,
shit done. Who I knew I didn't have to do their job and my job. I could just do my job, and they were
mhm,
doing their job. You know,
yeah.
okay. Well, they say, oh, you're obnoxious. I don't want to work with this guy. Well, he's the best guy on the site. Yeah, I know, but he's obnoxious. I don't want to work with him. No, give me that
Yeah.
idiot over there who I'm going to have to do my
Mhm,
work and half of his work. Just so I don't get
mhm,
laid off with him when he goes down the road. So
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
that's the way. That's what happened to these people. Like Ryan. I mean, shit, Ryan. I mean, that way he was
Mhm,
hoping Trump would collapse. He was hoping the Mueller report would bury him. He was voting on Mueller
mhm,
to like sink Trump, and then he'd come in 2020
mhm,
on his white shining horse and say, "Here I am to save the day. I haven't been associated with this guy,
yeah.
so now you can vote for me. And I'll
Mhm,
bring the Republican Party back. I'm your savior." Well, fuck him. He got fucked. Ah ha ha.
yeah.
Let me tell you,
Mhm,
when Barr wrote that letter on Friday, and then sent the
mhm,
report out on that Sunday, tell you, Democrats
mhm,
were upset. There were a whole bunch of guys like Ryan who were even more
mhm,
upset because now they realize there's no pathway for
mhm,
them to come back. Same thing with Romney.
mhm,
Same thing with that idiot in
mhm,
Ohio who somebody told him he was going to be a good candidate someday. The governor of Ohio, what's his
mhm,
name? Um,
yeah.
what was the governor of Ohio's name? The guy who ran against Trump in the primaries. The idiot in Ohio. The
Uh,
guy who wouldn't even go to the
let's
convention
see.
in Cleveland. What the
Mhm.
hell's his name? Anybody?
Let's
Somebody
see if
knows
I
his
can.
name. Anybody in the
Mhm,
chat knows the idiot governor of Ohio who
mhm.
ran against Trump in 2016 who wouldn't even go to the Republican convention in Cleveland. Douchebag and I are having a brain freeze. So if you know, that'd be great.
Let's see.
What the hell's his name?
Um,
Shit.
mhm.
Uh,
Tim Ryan ran against Pelosi for the
no.
House speakership.
Hold on. No. It's Ohio. It's Ohio. Come on. This is not hard.
Mhm.
Kasich. Okay, I just want to
Yeah.
tell everybody I remember the name. I did hit Google, but I didn't get to do the search yet. It was Governor
Mhm.
John Kasich. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's
yeah, like
the thing is
that guy.
Tim. Mhm.
That guy thought
Yeah.
he thought Trump was going to like get dumped on, get impeached, and everything else, and he was going to come in and
Mhm.
save the day also in 2020. Well, him and
Yeah.
Romney and Ryan, they're all crying. Trust me, big time, because that report came back
Mhm.
and didn't say what they wanted it to say. So
I
tough
think
shit.
Charles Schultz is going to give these Democrats more of a
Okay,
headache than
now
they want him
is
to.
he actually going to run?
I believe he is. I
Because
know he did. I
I've
didn't
heard
catch
both
his
sides.
speech.
I heard both stories that he was
Mhm.
going to run, and then a bunch of people trying to talk him out of it, and he wasn't going to run. So what have you heard lately?
Mhm. I haven't really heard anything. I know that he gave a speech. I think was it in Kansas? I think or somewhere. I'm trying to think. I didn't get a chance to watch a speech, but let me see. I could punch it up here real quick. I got my laptop. Um,
Yeah, but when was it?
Charles.
Was it like a month ago, or was it recent?
I think it was recently, not too long ago. Let me see. Schultz. My grammar's horrible. The he was talking about because as far as I know, he's still running as an independent. Um, but he was basically talking about Charles Schultz, I think,
Yeah.
and oh my God, I can't even, how do I spell Schultz? Oh boy, I'm sorry. I've had a long day today,
No, that's
Carl. I do
okay. I
apologize.
tell you what. Some guy did in the chat said he was trying to call in and stuff, and then I told him to send me
Hmm.
an email with his phone number. He did, so I'm gonna give him a call
Oh, the
back.
video call? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's cool.
No. Just a regular phone call.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Carl. It's been a long. I do apologize.
No, not at all.
But yeah, no. So I will see you back in the chat, and hey, have a great week, and everybody, subscribe to Forbidden Information, and we got to be ready. 2020 is fast approaching, and we have got to show up in droves to help get Trump across the finish line.
Right. Totally agree.
You know.
Totally agree.
All right, Carl.
All right, man.
I will talk to you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
All right, we'll go ahead and make our phone call here. Okay, let's see. That was weird. I hit the right number. Just hit a wrong one. There we go. Try that. Hello?
Please leave your message for
Dave S.
Well, I called the 484 area code, and I got a voicemail. So, hey, I tried calling you, man. So, don't say I didn't try calling you, because I did. But anyway. So, and I even hung up with Mr. Douchebag over that. And he said, give me a call. I call, and then I get a voicemail. That's terrible. But anyway, okay, well, let's get to this story here. I definitely want to cover this. Okay, so what do we got here? Nuclear option adopted. This is a really, really good story. Okay, Washington, D.C., this is from the Wall Street Journal by Andrew, I'm going to butcher his name, Duren. Senate Republicans, here we go, let me see. Yep, let's see. Here we go. Senate Republicans invoked the so-called nuclear option to use a simple majority to change the chamber's rules for confirming many appointees to the executives and judicial branches. Under the new permanent procedures, the Senate will allow for... Oh, wait, I already covered this story. Damn it. No, forgot. I already read this. Okay, let's get to another one. Well, let's get me back on here real quick here. Boom. Boom. Okay, there's me. All right, so let's see. There's another story I want to cover real quick. Let me get to it here. Let's see. Okay. This is a good one. I'm sure this will make everybody happy. These people have done nothing but go around and cause pain and misery for a lot of people. You'll see it when you see the headline. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Southern Poverty Law Center in tatters. Gee, I wonder why. But, okay, let's see here. All right, so let's see. Great dude, John DeGraphic, you're welcome. Hey, douchebag. But anyway, hey, yeah, Mr. Douchebag. So anyway, this guy says, call me, sends me an email. I call the guy, and I get his voicemail. So go figure. But anyway, let's cover this one. Southern Poverty Law Center. For those of you who are not familiar with the Southern Poverty Law Center, they're the ones that go around telling everybody that they're racist and they're evil and they're homophobic and they're sexist and misogynist, and they consider people hate groups and hate crimes, and then they even get people taken off Amazon for like receiving those charitable donations. They say, oh, it's a hate group, and then of course they do nothing like against people like Antifa and stuff. there's a great saying. Somebody said it. It might have been Derek Grayson. He was like, it's like training wheels. It's like, like there was a time when we needed the Southern Poverty Law Center, but you know what? The '60s are over. You don't need them anymore. And it's like when you learn to ride a bike, you have your training wheels. Well, Southern Poverty Law Center is like training wheels. I think it was Derek Grayson who came up with that analogy. I want to say it was him. I can't remember, but God, it's a good one. I'm stealing it. I wish I could remember exactly who said it. But anyway, so Southern Poverty Law Center, they're like training wheels. We learned how to ride the bike. Guess what? Hey, thanks for the help. We don't need you anymore. But now they got to find some kind of relevance. But they go around. But now you find out that these people are the biggest freaking racist, sexist, weirdos in the universe. Let's cover the story. So anyway, there's I think was his name Mo Dees. Anyway, co-founder of the Southern Poverty Law Center. He submitted his resignation on March 14th, and he bolts out of the blue. Associated Press. Anyway, here's a story by Valerie Richardson of the Washington Times. As the Southern Poverty Law Center implodes over accusations of racial, Effie Real. Hey, Miss Effie Real, how you doing?
Hi. Oh, I forgot you're on a delay.
Not anymore.
Hi, everybody.
I'm not anymore. I should have been bypassed. I should be bypassed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
I was on a delay.
Okay.
I bought this little device
okay.
I bought this little device that keeps bad people off the YouTube. But you're not one of those.
Yeah.
But you're not one of those bad people, so I'm bypassing it right now.
Not that you know of.
yeah. Hey, what's going on here?
Anyway.
You're like a super troll. You kind of get in, make everybody think you're really cool, and then also you just drop a big bomb on us or something.
I'm playing the long game, right?
It's like you're just waiting, biding your time, waiting for the right moment.
That's me.
And then boom, we're all doomed. Oh, that's funny.
I've said too much.
But how you doing tonight?
I wanted to bring. I'm exhausted, but what else was new? I wanted to bring up a couple of stories.
Please go right ahead.
Okay. First, the bad news. I was reading. I think it's a UK Guardian, but they have a U.S. edition. But you know how the UN has been. What was it called? Article 13 pertaining to social media and. What could be, huge wave of censorship coming from Europe.
Yeah, I mean, the EU was just passing that. I saw Sargon of Akkad was covering that story. He's been all over that. But yeah,
right.
Yeah, but I didn't really have time to really look at it. So please tell me.
Yeah, well, there's a related article that came out today that the UK just also there's a leaked. UK plan, the white papers, I guess that's sort of like our bills before they become laws.
Okay.
And a leaked white paper from the UK today said that they plan that they're proposing a series of regulations to enforce what they call duty of care. And I've heard of that phrase in the UK before. I don't think we have that phrase in our laws, but duty of care and fines associated with those two media bosses. So basically, like Zuckerberg, et cetera, could be hauled before juries about, if something they deem that's something that happened on these platforms that directly results in somebody being harmed.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy.
It's a tremendous attack on free speech.
Yeah, definitely a big attack on free speech. Well, there's two sides. There's an interesting flip side to that story, because the exception they get to like having to be regulated, like newspapers and TV stations and movies and stuff like that. They say that we're just a platform. We're not editing stuff. Okay, we just publish. We don't edit. We don't even publish. We just people just publish their own stuff on our platform, and so they convinced the Congress. I forgot what year that was, maybe a decade ago, that
right.
you don't need to Okay, we need an exception to regulation because we're not actually editorializing. We're not
They're
controlling.
not exactly.
We're not controlling content. Well, now it turns out they are
They're not
controlling.
content creators.
Thank you. But now it
Hmm.
turns out they are controlling content. I mean, when you kick
Yes,
off Alex Jones or this guy, and especially Alex Jones, you say, oh, he makes up
exactly.
fake conspiracy theories. Well, MSNBC, CNN for the last 2 years are the biggest, most fantastic conspiracy theory of my lifetime. So there's an interesting flip side to that. That if they get held accountable, then potentially they're saying, you guys are content creators, and maybe then in our country at least they can get regulated, or we can have an Internet Bill of Rights or something. But go ahead, though. Please tell me more about this story.
Yeah, it sounds like in the UK, they're because of course their laws are different from our laws, so it's not about protected free speech for the for
Right.
anybody, and it's not about avoiding the laws that would pertain to a content creator. It's just simply they have what they call duty of care laws. So let's say it's actually all kind of they're kind of hanging it on the death of a 14-year-old who committed suicide from what her father deemed a social media. I'm trying to see where they said, well, it was like a promoted self-harm and suicide culture. So that sounds like BS to me. Um, and it sounds like a grieving man who's looking for someone to blame, and a very stupid and dangerous thing to hang a law on, a national law on. But
Well,
that's where
yeah.
it
Well,
seems
yeah.
like they're
That it
trying to
always.
go.
Yeah, I know, and I hate when they do that. It's like you have this one tragedy, and suddenly now, we haven't had this law in effect, and everything's been going okay. Then you have this one tragedy, and then suddenly like, oh, we got to change all the laws. It's like it was one tragedy. Yes, okay, it's tragic for that one person and for that person's family. But, like say in this country, there are 330 million other people walking around the streets that you don't need to affect
Hmm.
because somebody did something and there's one thing, and God, I hate
Yeah,
that. I hate that so
it's
much.
senseless. It is senseless because you don't know all of the things that affect the mind of one person, and I would seriously doubt social media played the entire role in anybody's death on those grounds.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
agree.
a nonsensical thing, but yet you have because the UK government are so pro censorship and so pro touchy feely leftism at this point that they have no sense left in them, so they can be completely manipulated by one story into just further throwing away what little bit of free speech they had left in the meantime. I think that could be why some of these companies are sort of preemptively censoring, and because they know what side of the political spectrum these governments that are censoring fall on, so they know who they have to censor to keep on their good side.
Yeah.
So it's just this is a downward spiral, and the only way it's going to get better is the U.S. needs to take control in some kind of way, and or technology. We need to free market our way out of this problem by creating a whole new kind of platform and telling them to pound sand.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But
like
it's
I've always
going
said
to have
though.
to be dramatic.
Yeah, like I always said, like I've been over to BitChute, I've been over to Minds, I've been over to what was the other one I can't remember, but BitChute and Minds stand out to me the most, and those are awful platforms. I hate to say, but I guess YouTube, Google
Yes.
got all the patents on all the different, the live chatting and also how to. I mean, and for content creators, ask anybody. I mean, YouTube is well, they make it easy to just like again if like we were talking earlier, like if you have it sounds like they're not letting you live stream on your phone. You can live stream on your webcam, but not your phone if you have less than 1,000 subs. Again, that makes no sense, but nonetheless, like say you could on your phone, it is literally it takes. I could go out to I'm not sure if you were a sub on my site when I went out and did that balloon festival, and I covered the balloons and stuff, all the lights and stuff. I don't know if you were on back then, but I went out to in Pahrump. I went to the balloon festival, and I shot the balloons and stuff like that. I mean, literally, it's like it took me maybe 10 seconds to set up the phones and to go live right on the spot. So they make it very simple. So they have all the patents on that in like outfits like Minds, Which if you've ever been on Minds before, it's an awful, terrible, disgusting platform. It's just terrible to try to work in. And BitChute it isn't much better. It takes a long time to load videos and everything. So, unless somebody's got 20 billion with a B laying around, I don't know how you can come up with a platform that can compete with YouTube.
Well, BitChute is interesting. The technology for BitChute, it actually will work with use. It's kind of like it's a different. It's like a spider web. It needs more strings for it to be stronger, and it's also more of an actual web. Back in the old days when we actually used to talk about the World Wide Web, that's what that WWW stands for, that people don't even have to type in anymore.
Is it World Wide Web? Is that what it stood for?
Yeah.
Stands for the World Wide Web, yeah.
Yeah. That the software that operates BitChute is actually will improve with use. In other words, the more users, the faster it will go.
Oh,
and
wow.
so that lag time, yeah, it's actually made to work faster with more users. It's because the users become part of the network, and the network gathers speed as there are more users. So it's almost backwards to what like the YouTube model is, where you have probably giant servers somewhere sending and receiving. This is data sharing, and everybody that's a part of BitChute becomes part. Your computer becomes part of the greater whole. Therefore, everybody logged in increases the data speed and volume. So
wow, that's right. I forgot you're from the tech world. That's right. I forgot. It's like, wow, you know a lot. That's right. You're from the tech world. That's right. But,
yeah, those are the rumors, but we're not going to confirm or deny.
Okay.
So in the meantime, yeah. So what could happen is if there's a great wave of users exiting, YouTube, things get too crazy, or just they kick people out and they're not even just mad, they have to go. BitChute could actually see a surge, and not only a surge, but the performance will increase. So people won't have the problems that we're having now.
Well, it's one of those things like if we were all united, like when they kicked off Alex Jones and a couple other people, we said, okay, we're all leaving. But, nobody was going to, that's one of the things where like you say, okay, we're all together, and say, yeah, okay, follow me, and then you leave, and then nobody leaves with you. And then that kind of thing.
I believe that, what is that one where people collect, I hear this word every day, but I'm really tired. The platform where people collect money for their videos.
Oh, you mean like PayPal? Patreon?
No, not PayPal. It's the one for creative people. They put content on this site also, and they can then
Patreon?
Collect money.
Is it
Patreon? Thank you.
Patreon, yeah.
That's the one. Patreon, they did lose a pretty large percentage of
well, yeah,
users
I know.
When Sargon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin, didn't they both leave?
Yeah, and so after Sargon and after Alex Jones, Alex Jones was first. Well, there were other people before him, but he was the first really big one.
Right.
So they lost a lot of users. So I don't know if they regained those users, but
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. The problem is like, these people, like, you think, oh, they're worried about their bottom line. Well, these people really aren't worried about their bottom line. They're fanatics.
Yeah.
And so you think like, gee,
yeah.
Oh no, we're in business, we want to make money. No, they really don't. I think YouTube actually loses money, if I'm not mistaken. And they lose money every year.
Yeah, half of them are fanatics.
They're just fanatics. And if you like
the ones that work. Mm-hmm, the ones that work at the companies are the fanatics, but their bosses are pulling their strings. So, and of course these companies are beholden to Visa and the large banks and corporations that are telling them what to do.
Right.
And they've let that slip. So,
Yeah, I mean, even like the
it's
banks were
not.
like going to be denying credit card accounts to people like to gun stores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's really scary. And you say, well, gee, it's
That's why
private.
Bitcoin is the way to go for these people. I mean, if you're going to be at all edgy, you have to have your backup game, because I think there will be a great purge after some of these laws are passed in the EU and the UK. It's just gonna translate over here. So that's the bad news.
You got any
But
good news?
I wanted to say some good news. Yeah,
Yay!
CNBC reports that the United States weekly jobless claims have dropped to the lowest level since 1969.
Wow!
A 49-year low.
Wow!
And that's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. I mean, and the thing is, you do have a lot of people entering the labor market, so it's not just like people just gave up either. I mean, they might have gave up 2-3 years ago, but no, people, there's work. I mean, you talk to people on the street, and there's jobs aplenty. I did the Balloon Festival, then I did the Chili Cook-Off. I think it was the Chili Cook-Off where I talked to this one construction worker who's an iron worker, and he says, "Man, there's just so much work right now." He moved here from not like I'm in Pahrump. I'm in a suburb of Las Vegas, but he works out of Vegas, and he moved here. I can't remember where he moved from, but he said, "Oh, there's just work everywhere." And
Yeah,
that's so the jobless claims going down is not just people leaving the labor market, is that they're getting jobs. I mean, shit.
yeah, exactly. And this is a leftist news organization, CNBC, but they're peppering this report with, despite slow economic growth, the data points to sustained labor market strength, and we expected the amount to be the 216,000 jobless claims last week, but it was 202,000 only. So they keep throwing out the more negative, peppering the article with the more negative comments. I guess I'm just too sensitive anymore to it, that I see right through it. But despite their attempt at negativity, it's a pretty big fat headline. U.S. weekless jobless rates claims dropped to the lowest level since 1969. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. I wonder how much coverage that's going to get, like in like MSNBC and CNN. I wonder if that you'll probably be like on the bottom in the second half of the hour, maybe 45 minutes in, and it won't be a panel discussion. It won't be like 4 or 5 guys talking about it.
Yeah.
It'll be like one guy.
Well, it's on their website. And it's being propagated by Reuters. It's being propagated by Reuters across the major networks, but I don't know if it's going to be on any of the talking head shows.
No, it won't. It won't get. No,
that's why I read.
No, again, I was watching. I got stuck watching it again. Brian Williams, and who was it? Oh, Steve Kornacki was covering tonight. I guess Brian Williams has had to take a leave of absence after the Mueller report came out. He kept waiting every week for that smoking gun. I got to hear about 104 different smoking guns every Friday night that was going to drop on Trump, and it was going to be over. Literally every Friday night. Every Friday night. He said the same line. Is this a smoking gun? Is this the one that brings the president down?
Yeah.
And then by Tuesday, Wednesday, nothing. And then next Friday, the same freaking line with a different story. But anyway, I guess he had to take a leave of absence because he was so depressed, probably all taking a bunch of Xanax or
I
weed.
shouldn't laugh at another human being's depression. That makes me a bad person.
I mean, well, considering the propaganda he was spewing out there, well, I mean, I can't believe they even hired the guy back. But anyway, yeah, it'll be like like tonight, a full half hour, first half of the show, the time when most people watch, all about Mueller and the New York Times article, and some people on the team aren't happy, and of course Mueller's not quoted. And then it's funny how Kornacki said, and people on Mueller's team, and maybe even Mueller, it's like, well, no, Mueller, if he wanted to speak up, would have said something. Like, yeah, it's me, and what Barr said, what I said in the report is wrong, because he would have no problem doing that, trust me. But he hasn't. Why? Because what Barr said in the report was pretty much a good summary of what Mueller said. And if Mueller wanted to indict, if Mueller thought there was enough to indict Trump on obstruction, he would have put that in there. Yeah, okay, whether or not you can indict a sitting president, I'll let you figure that out, but there is enough to indict. He should be indicted. He could have said that one line. He didn't. Pure and simple. So if there's some people on his team, there probably are, let me tell you something, there probably are some people on the team who are unhappy. Because remember, those guys were fanatics. The guys he put on his team, they were fanatics. And so they probably weren't happy with Mueller's conclusions. Mueller probably said, well, yeah, but you guys are, look, I hired you because you're fanatics, and I know you go the distance and chase every lead down. But, hey, man, I'm putting my name on this report. And, yeah, you can take your fanaticism someplace else because that's my signature there, not yours. So, you know what? Have a nice day. And they're probably all pissed off. Oh, just say this, say this. Well, do you have the evidence? No. Then shut up. Sit down. But now they run to the New York Times and they treat it like it's gospel.
Exactly. And along those lines, how can there be collusion when there's no crime?
Well, yeah, no, right. How could there be obstruction if there's no underlying collusion? Like, why would the president want to?
Obstruction.
Right.
Why there's no collusion?
Right. Why would the president want to?
That.
Yeah. Why would the president want to obstruct an investigation that shows that he did nothing wrong? Now, here's the deal. This is why, in my opinion, I think he got rid of Comey. One, he knew that dossier and all the details inside of it were complete bullshit. Trump knew that. He's like, hey, that's bullshit. I mean, I didn't smoke that much crack when I was in Moscow, okay? I would remember all of that, and none of that actually happened. And I never sent Cohen to Prague. I know that didn't happen. Well, here's the point. He knew Comey was behind pushing this thing out there, him and Clapper. So he knows that about Comey. And also he knows something else about Comey. He knows Comey knows that whole dossier is bullshit, but he's pushing it anyway. So he knows this guy's just trying to take me down. This guy's just trying to hurt me with lies. It's one thing if I did this and Comey goes, hey, man, I got to get rid of this guy. Or I did something really bad. I got to get rid of this guy. But he knows Comey knew that dossier and all the stories behind it were bullshit. And Comey was still going after him. Hey, I would have fired that asshole too. And no, that's not obstruction. That's just getting rid of some asshole who's trying to screw with you over something that you know as the director of the FBI, not some mid-level guy. The director of the FBI who's talking to Clapper, who's talking to Brennan, who knows this is bullshit, who talked to Ort, and Ort told him, hey, look, man, my wife wrote this. She works at Fusion GPS, and they're doing op research. And, op research isn't always true. It's just kind of an inference on top of an inference on top of an inference. Ort tells all these guys, hey, so you better vet this because, it's my wife, but still, he didn't want to get disbarred. So they say, well, thanks. Well, they don't vet it, and they know it was bullshit. If they had tried to vet it, they would have found out it was bullshit. Well, Mueller vetted it. Mueller and his team went and vetted as best they could. They dug deep into it, and there's nothing there. There was nothing there. So of course he got rid of. I would have got rid of Comey too. Why would you keep somebody around who knows is trying to get rid of you based on what he knows is not true? So that's not obstruction. That's just getting rid of an asshole.
Yeah, I think that the talking heads are mostly just between that because he fires people. And because he tweets mean tweets, that constitutes obstruction, and it doesn't because if he's not tweeting, I'm gonna do something to you if you don't stop investigating me, and he didn't, then there's no He can say I don't like these guys, or whatever he wants. This is bogus. These charges, I'm mad about it, but that's not obstruction. That's just how he feels.
Right. Well,
and,
bet you
you're allowed to.
He knew it was all bullshit. He knew it was false. So, right, there was no crime. Now, if he committed a crime and then he fired the guy because he didn't want to get found out to be committing a crime, but hey, a year and a half later, almost 2 years later, we get Mueller, and we can say all the things we want to say about Mueller, but one thing we can't say is that the guy is not thorough. 50 wiretaps, 500 witness interviews, 500 search warrants. What else? 2,800 subpoenas, individual subpoena documents, 19 attorneys, 40 full-time FBI agents. This guy, there wasn't a rock that was not unturned. So at the end of the day, after he does his total investigation, there was nothing to find. There's nothing else to find. That's why he had to call it a day. It's like, well, man, I looked over. There are no more rocks for me to turn over, and there still ain't nothing here. And Mueller wanted to find something. Mueller wanted to find something. Comey was like, what? Comey and him have been friends for like decades. And, and this guy fired, one of his best friends. So, of course, Mueller wanted to get this guy. And even he couldn't find anything to get this guy with. And he wasn't going to sign his name to something stupid that there's young kids that work for him, young kids, guys in their 30s, that, wanted to, make Trump look bad. He goes, hey, that's your job. You know what? My legacy is a good legacy. I'm not going to go out on a lie. I'm not signing my name to a bunch of bullshit. Shut up, sit down, and then they, of course, leak it to the New York Times. So there you go.
Yeah, which why I wondered, just from a legal standpoint, similar to conspiracy. You can't have conspiracy unless there's a crime.
Well,
you can't be
well,
charged
yeah, you can't be,
with conspiracy.
well, okay, here's the deal. So you got to be careful on this. Okay, say you and I,
Mhm.
get together, and we say we're going to go rob that bank. Okay, now we never rob the
Mhm.
bank, but we make like that step towards robbing the bank. We get the guns.
Mhm.
We do the whole 10 yards. We put on the outfits. We walk into the bank with the guns in our hands, and we go, we look at each other. This wasn't such a good idea. I mean, nobody stops us. It wasn't like they stopped us from doing it. We just turn to you and say, let's get the hell out of here, and we leave. Now, you can be charged with conspiracy. Why? Because you did conspire to commit a crime, whether or not you committed the crime or not. So you got to be careful when you say that.
Okay.
Yeah, because and
So
conspiracy is actually a separate crime in of itself. Like you can have conspiracy to commit murder, and you can
okay.
be sentenced consecutively on those two charges. They don't necessarily merge together at sentencing because of that fact.
Okay. So can obstruction be a thing without a crime?
Now, here's the deal with that. Barr wrote a nice little mini brief within that letter on that. He said, okay, one of the factors you do look at is whether or not there was an underlying crime. He goes, it's not. Let's see, did he say determinative or dispositive? I can't remember the word he used, but in other words, what he was saying was, okay, it's not the be all end all, but it is an important factor. Why? Because you have to also show beyond a reasonable doubt corrupt intent on like on the part of Trump. That Trump had corrupt intent, like say in firing Comey, because and the corrupt intent goes to what did he commit a crime. So what Barr is saying, based on the fact there was no crime, it would be very hard to show corrupt intent on behalf of the president, which is an element, and the state has to prove the government, the feds have to prove each and every element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. And he said, without that underlying crime, it's hard to prove corrupt intent. You can't prove corrupt intent. Any obstruction case falls to pieces.
That makes sense.
Right.
Because his intent would be whether or not he felt he was covering an actual crime. If there's no crime and we've overturned every rock to see that there isn't one, then you can't really say his state of mind was he intended to cover up a crime, because there's no crime. So you can't accuse him of having that state of mind, therefore that intent.
Exactly.
Is, I guess,
that's it.
What I'm trying to gather from what you're saying there.
Yep.
And one last bit of good news.
Yay!
Because 3 is a complete number.
3 is a complete number?
Jussie Smollett is going to be sued by Chicago. It just says the city rather, after repayment deadline passes. So apparently he was given a deadline to give them $130,000 for the cost of the investigation. Mm-hmm. Actually, Rahm Emanuel is the one who made that deadline.
Right.
And they said that he refused to make the payment. The deadline has now come and gone, so they intend to sue him for 3 times the amount, $390,000, plus court costs and attorney fees.
Right.
So I just thought that was
that's actually a really good story.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's good news.
Yeah, because what they're going to do is they're going to like the triple damages. Like in some states limit like how much in punitive damages you can get. Because normally punitive damages are based on states that don't have limits on punitive damages. Punitive damages are based on how much somebody is worth. Why? Because you're trying to punish most civil cases are not about punishment, except when it comes to the punitive damages aspect. So if somebody committed fraud, for instance, acted in a malicious way in order to oppress or et cetera, then you ask for punitive damages. In some states, limited to 3 times the amount of compensatory. So it'll be 130 plus punitives actually, plus 390, and then they're going to ask for costs and attorney fees. And each state has a different rule on that. Some states have it that after you file suit, if you make an offer of judgment and you offer, say they sue them, and I'm not sure if Illinois has this, but most states do. You make an offer of judgment and say, okay, we offer that you pay us $200,000 for instance, or like, well, you'd probably say we offer you pay us 129,000. So then you go to and you have 10 days to agree to accept this and pay us. And if he doesn't, then if you go to trial, now you don't file that document, but you hold it. Well, you file the 10-day notice thing, whatever. But you hold it, and then at trial, if you get more than 129,000, like 130,000, then you're entitled to your cost. Well, you're always entitled to your cost, but then you're entitled to your attorney's fees as well. So I'm not sure what the law in Illinois is. But the nice thing about a civil case, here's the nice thing about a civil case. Well, first, he doesn't have a Fifth Amendment right anymore anyway, because there's no criminal charges except maybe on the Fed action. So, but you can ask him any questions about how he set all this up and stuff. He doesn't have a Fifth Amendment right, and he has to, his deposition can be taken, it can be recorded, and then, excuse me, then you get to go to trial. So no Fifth Amendment right, and questions you get to ask at a civil case are just questions that could tend to lead to the discovery of admissible information. It's a very low standard. So pretty much you can ask pretty much any question, and he pretty much has to answer it. And if he doesn't answer it, then you meet with the attorneys, try to work it out. If you can't work it out, then you file a motion to compel. You bring it to the judge, and the judge says you are ordered to answer those questions. If he does not answer those questions after he was ordered by the judge to do so, the judge can then hold him in contempt or assign it to another judge to have a contempt hearing and put him in jail. Yeah, every state's different. Some states are like up to 25 days, 5 days, whatever, in jail for contempt. So civil case. So the idea they're going to bring a civil case is really cool. But here's the caveat. I know you read this in the story. New mayor getting sworn in May 20th, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, most likely what Emmanuel will do, he'll definitely file it prior to her taking office. Why? Because it's going to put it on her shoulders whether she's going to walk away from it or go forward with it. So the only thing she said that's supposed to be on the campaign trail that I saw was that she said, the people of Chicago are entitled to know the truth or something. I can't remember what the quote she said. Or no, the people of Chicago are entitled to know why the DA's office didn't go forward. So that's all she said. So nobody really knows is if after he files it, remember now, she'll be the mayor, that's the city attorney, then she can say, no, dismiss it. We're done. We're not going to go forward. Or
The last paragraph says that the mayor-elect, and who was an ex-prosecutor, Lightfoot, says she'll be looking into what went on in the Smollett case. And this is the part I need you to explain to me. It says the union representing the CPD and the chiefs of 30 surrounding police departments revealed that they conducted a no-confidence vote into Fox's office. The result was apparently unanimous. So that means they're trying to oust Fox?
Well, the statement of no confidence wouldn't oust her in of itself. I mean, I don't know what the rules are in Chicago or Illinois are for getting rid of an elected official. I don't know if they have a recall kind of vote kind of situation where you can. But I'll tell you right now, most recall votes generally fail. What's his name up in Wisconsin won like 2 of them. I think he won 2 of them. I know he won at least 1. And then most of them fail because they get screwed. You have to get a bunch of signatures on a petition, and they have to be registered to vote. And what happens so many times I've seen it that they go back and check the signatures and check the names, and there's always people who weren't registered to vote or couldn't vote. They were felons or whatever, or they didn't live in the jurisdiction. They were just visiting from out of town. They all sign that, because the people who get to go out and get the petitions, they're just kids or just people looking for to make minimum wage to go out and have people sign a petition. And so they say they need 250,000 signatures. And they go, oh, look, we got 260,000. And then they go, okay. And then they check out the signatures and the names. And they go, well, you're like 40,000 short because 40,000 of them were either tourists living out of state, not registered to vote, or whatever. Or just give a phony name or phony whatever, And then since you don't get past that first hurdle, you didn't meet the signature requirement by the deadline, then you're knocked out of the water. So I don't know what the rules are in Illinois or Cook County or Chicago as far as for getting rid of an elected official. I don't know. But no, she's not going. But in my opinion, she's not going anywhere anytime soon. She got a lot of money behind her, a lot of money, a lot of political power behind her.
Apparently, the new mayor does not like Fox. They refer to them as foes. So
We'll see.
I don't know why. I guess they ran against each other.
Oh,
for
they
the other
did?
position.
Really?
It says that they were foes, so that's usually a euphemism for political foe.
Could be, or she was a federal prosecutor, and Fox. I think did she work in the DA's office before she ran? I can't. I don't remember. I know that year she ran. The guy was his name Krasniak in Philadelphia. He ran. The guy in Corpus Christi ran. They're all like Soros people. They're all people giving out a bunch of outside money. The woman in St. Louis who won. She was like a nobody. She went to some whatever law school, and I think practiced law for a few minutes and was in the state assembly, and then she ran for DA, but had a bunch of Soros money behind her. His PAC money, ran a bunch of like $400,000 worth of ads for her or something like that. So I mean, that was a year where Soros said, okay, we're going to start at the local level. We're going to do restorative justice, which is different than criminal justice reform. That's a big difference. I like criminal justice reform. I don't like restorative justice. And we're going to do restorative justice and alternative prosecution, alternative sentencing, which basically means, and we're going to get rid of this bail, because poor people shouldn't have to sit in jail because they're poor. Forget about the crime they committed. They shouldn't have to sit in jail. So they're all in this restorative justice thing. But it's funny, though, even the prosecutors who say, yeah, we do alternative sentencing, we do alternative prosecutions, they say one of the requirements is you want the guy to admit, like it's almost like being an alcoholic. We want you to admit you have a problem, right? So he said in any deal, like that's what Illinois bar prosecutors, whatever they call them in Illinois, they wrote a big statement saying, hey, this whatever she did and whatever she's calling it, we don't know what she's talking about because there is no such thing that she's talking about what she did with Smollett. There is no such animal. There is no such thing where you indict somebody. They never admit they were guilty of anything. They don't take a plea deal. They don't plead to anything. Like diversion, even like for drug diversion, you still have to go in and plead guilty to using drugs, or at least no contest. You have to plead something to at least get into the diversion program, which after, like in my state, after 3 years, as long as you test clean, you don't violate your probation, after 3 years, you were never adjudicated a felon, and after 3 years, you can withdraw your guilty plea. And then you just go on your merry way, and it's like it never ever happened. But you still have to, at the initial onset, plead like, yeah, I did drugs. Yes, I was in possession of drugs. Or no contest. I'm pleading no contest to possession of drugs, no contest to under the influence of drugs. You have to take a plea to something. You can't just say not guilty and get on. You can't say not guilty and get on the diversion program. You say not guilty, you go into trial.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're using a diversion program.
Like,
yeah, go ahead.
It sounds like they, the Chicago side of this, Fox et al., they were on board with the, we're not saying he's innocent. We're not exonerating him. We just made a deal to whatever reason they claimed it was, just expediency, however they claimed it. But it sounds like he didn't get aboard the you have to be contrite train and agree to saying, I shouldn't have done what I did. It sounds like they didn't communicate that to him because they certainly all prepared. They had statements stating that, they didn't consider him innocent, but he was the one going out there saying, I'm innocent. So.
Well, no, I mean, no. That's the crazy thing. The prosecutor said, "Oh no," like they asked the one guy straight up. The guy was actually assigned to the case. Do you think he was innocent? No, but I mean, again, the diversion program is primarily used in drug cases, but they're expanding it now into like other kind of crimes, which I totally disagree with. It doesn't make any sense. But okay, say okay, there's a policy for diversion, and we're going to do this alternative prosecution. Okay, so you have the guy come in, he takes a plea, he signs a guilty plea agreement saying, I did this, I did this, I did this, and I understand my range of punishment could be this, and I'm going to be put on probation for a term of years, and so during those like 3 years, 5 years, whatever years, because I'm pleading guilty to this felony, that I can't, I'm subject, I have a Fourth Amendment waiver, I'm subject to random drug tests. I have to report it to my probation officer. I have to provide my address to him. I can't commit any new crimes. Basically, you have to be a Boy Scout, And then after 3 years, they would say, okay, look, we never, and here's the deal. I'm sorry, I skipped a part. When you take that plea initially, normally you take the plea, and then you go to sentencing, and then you'd be sentenced and adjudicated a felon. But if you're on the diversion program, if it's sentencing, it turns out that you were eligible for that diversion program. In drug case, it means you were never convicted of a prior drug offense, or you don't have at least 3 felonies or whatever the number is. Okay, so when you go to sentencing, they say, yeah, he's eligible for the diversion program. What happens is that you're placed on probation, but you're not adjudicated a felon. So there's no adjudication of you being a felon. So then after 3 years, if you've done everything right, stayed out of trouble, then you're allowed to withdraw your guilty plea, and you were never a convicted felon. You don't have to go back and seal the conviction or anything because you were never adjudicated. Now, if you screw up on probation, then the first thing will happen is that they say, okay, probation violation, the guy admits, yeah, I did drugs. Okay, I tell you what, we're going to remove you from the diversion program, and now we're going to sentence you to, like, say, 19 months to 48 months in prison, but we're going to suspend it, put you on probation. But now you've been adjudicated a felon, 1, and 2, now you have that 19 to 48 hanging over your head. So then, if you screw up the next time, potentially you go to prison for 19 to 48. Well, they never. That's what I'm saying. The Illinois prosecutor bar said she's calling it, restorative justice, all this stuff, but what she's calling it is not what. That's not what we do. That's not what anybody does. Okay, nobody does what she just did. And you can just dismiss a case, say, look, we don't want to go forward because we can't prove it, or it's better for the community, or we're tired, we're busy, and we're going to drop the case. We're going to turn down prosecution. You can always do that, but don't call it something that it isn't. Don't say, oh, we're dropping it based on restorative justice, alternative prosecution, alternative sentencing. No, because that doesn't fit into what those words actually mean. So basically, she's full of shit. Is what I'm trying to say. She had a conclusion, and she was looking to find a way to get to it. That's all.
Oh yeah, we know about the shady way they went digging for any excuse to be able to get away with this, and I don't think they succeeded. So.
Well, no, not especially if they go forward with that lawsuit and the new mayor follows up on that lawsuit, because that would be funny. His deposition being taken and they cross that, and you get a good attorney on there cross examining this guy. I mean, it won't be some little softball ABC News interview. Oh, Jesse, we love you. Oh, no, man, it'll be some hard ass attorney like me who's just gonna go in there and chew the shit out of it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. It'll be like, okay, so you said this, and this is what happened. You said, oh no, oh man, it'll be videotaped, which should be fine for him. He's an actor.
Are you feeling stronger today, Jesse?
Right. It won't be like that. Oh, let me just write to Laura real quick.
Do you know how much we're all with you?
Yeah, no, trust me, it won't be pretty.
Like that. No, but it sounds like, according to this article anyway, that everyone who is not Fox is angry, including when she recused herself, the other person, Joseph Magatz. He said that he believes Smollett was guilty. He said that this deal did not exonerate him. So there's that. And then the incoming, the mayor-elect, sounds like she's going to keep it going, and she doesn't like Fox anyway.
Well, I hope she does. And did you? I'm not sure. I read that story when I did a call-in show the other night, and it turns out she really didn't recuse herself. They said, "Oh, we meant that in a different sense." It's like, well, again, we're lawyers. Lawyers don't say, the only time a lawyer says recuse is in a legal sense. It's not like it's part of our, vocabulary that we just walk around the house and go,
sure.
Hey, can you go to the store? No, I'm going to recuse myself from going to the store. I guess you know what? I will start using it like that. That actually sounds.
I thought you guys talk like that all the time.
Yeah, actually, that does sound pretty funny.
So when your wife says something you don't like, you don't say, I object?
No, that doesn't play.
Yeah. Well, that just blows my whole image. So.
Right. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't work.
Thanks for ruining it for me.
Sorry. But yeah, she never actually recused herself. They said, oh, we meant that in some kind of, I don't know what the word they used. I forgot what it was. But so she just wasn't, quote unquote, hands on the case, but she was still directing the case. My guess is she's the one who gave, and when you recuse, when the DA has to recuse herself, not just the deputy DA and you keep it away from him, but like the DA, that means the whole office should recuse. They should have turned it over to the state attorney general's office. Said, okay, look, we're out, you're in, bye, you take it over. But no, she stayed on it, and my guess is it was her hands on it that said, get rid, dump this case. And the guy who works for her is another civil servant type guy, doesn't want to lose his pension. Remember, even though he's civil servant, even though he gets a pension, most prosecutors are considered at will. I mean, you can just walk in and say, I don't like your shoes, you're fired. Yeah, you can collect unemployment, but you're gone. And this guy looks like the kind of guy who's been there for like 24, 25 years, 26, and he's just counting the days, and he's looking to keep that pension going so he can earn as much credits as possible. And, if she said get rid of it, he wasn't going to say, well, no, that's wrong. I disagree with it on principle. She goes, well, you're fired. Oh, I said, okay, good, F you. No, this guy, maybe a young kid, this guy, nah, he's too invested. Okay, plus what's he going to do? I mean, didn't seem like he had much of a personality, so I can't really see him going to private practice. So, yeah, so my guess is she had her hands all over that case, even though she quote-unquote recused herself.
Yeah. Well, I just lost the chat because my browser crashed, so you'll see that I dropped out. So I'm going to let you go.
All right. Hey, thanks for calling in. Great. I'm glad you definitely brought those other topics up because, yeah, those are definitely worth talking about. They're totally cool.
Well, at least some good news, I like especially that our unemployment filing for unemployment is the lowest in 49 years.
I mean, that is so fantastic. Right. Excellent. All right, Miss Effie, you have a great evening. Okay. I'll see you on the next time for sure.
Okay, will do. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that, of course, was the great Effie Real, a panelist who's been on our panel twice, both times, and did a great call in tonight as well. And it looks like, Mr. Tony Patriot. Hey, let me give a shout out to Mr. Tony Patriot there. Hey, at Tony Patriot. There we go. Boom. Boom. Yeah, there's Mr. Tony Patriot. But anyway, yeah, Tony looks like getting ready to go to work. Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, see, 4 a.m. to 10, so, yeah, it looked like, about 2 o'clock over there now, about midnight. It'll be about 3 o'clock in a few minutes here, yeah. All right, but it looks like, hey, we're probably going to go and wrap up. Here, let me get back on screen here. Boom, boom, boom. So, yeah, we look like we're going to go ahead and wrap up the live call-in show tonight. I just want to thank everybody, Mr. Douchebag who called in and Effie Real who called in. And the one guy who called in, and then he said he was calling me, and I said, send me an email, I'll call you back when I get done with Mr. Douchebag. And then I call him back, I got his voicemail. So I'm not thanking you. But anyway, yeah, if you want me to call you back, that's cool. Maybe he had to get to work or something, because I was on a little bit of more than a few minutes with Mr. Douchebag, so. But anyway, thanks to everybody who's been in the chat and everybody who's been watching and all the viewers who will watch later. And you guys, I just want to tell you, have a great night. And probably, gee, that's real committed. But anyway, probably doing another panel show this Saturday night. I don't know the time, of course. Why would I know that? But anyway, probably looking forward to another panel, a live guest panel show Saturday night. That would be Saturday the 6th. April 6th, and again, I'm not sure what time. I'll try to do a little bit earlier for our East Coast viewers and subs. I'm on the West Coast, so, to me, it's only, quarter to midnight. So, but I know you guys quarter to 3 on the East Coast, so, I mean, shit, that's late. So I'll definitely try to get one on earlier on Saturday for a live panel show. But anyway, for Carl's Opinion, this is Carl. I just want to say thank you, guys, and I just want you guys all have a great night, and we'll see you the next time. Take care. Bye-bye.